And welcome to the North America Gaelic Football Podcast, the home of Gaelic football here in North America. I am your host, Gareth McAlinden. Before we get going, just a quick shout out to our sponsors, Masita, who've been the official sponsor of the USGA for the last number of years. If you are interested in getting your gear for the upcoming Nationals, waste no time, get it going, get it in now. But yeah, I'd like to quickly welcome Shane. Shane all the way from Killinnick, Wexford, currently playing football in Boston. Shane, what's the crack? How's everything going?
Gareth, how's things? Thanks very much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be on here with you.
Unfortunately, Connor couldn't make it tonight, just all their ties. But we said the show will go on. Because we want to get this one out before the holiday weekend so people can be sitting on the beach, listening to old Shano.
I don't know about that now.
Giving us all the dirt, giving us all the drama for the upcoming summer here in the Northeast. But I guess a good way to kick it off, Shane, you want to give us a little background about your journey at Gaelic football? We can go from there.
So I suppose, like every other young lad in Ireland, started playing football nearly as soon as I could walk there with a local club, St. Fintan's. So I suppose up through the ranks there with them, kind of progressed through the ages. Obviously, it's a small enough club there. We have numbers are tight enough, so we were amalgamated with another club there in Wexford. Numbers were that tight, but going well there now. Missing a few lads. Numbers, as I said, are tight at the senior level. We're intermediate team there. Come championship time, we could only have 18 or 19 players, so it's tough. But no, it's a great little club, some great people involved in it. Definitely looking forward to getting back home and getting back with them.
Is that a dual club? Do you guys play football and hurling?
Yeah, we're football and hurling, so intermediate football, and then we're junior hurling. So just before I came out here there, 2021, we actually won Junior A hurling, so that was a big lift for the club just to get a bit of silverware, and a great week's crack was had, as you know yourself.
Oh yeah, they're always the best times anyway.
That's what it's all about.
Oh yeah. So obviously you're now in the Northeast. I see the Mac and Espies jersey on you there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a giveaway of what club you're with.
Yeah.
How's that experience been so far? Because I know you've actually played in multiple cities here. This is your second stint in the US, right?
Yeah. So last year I was in Philadelphia with the Young Irelands, which was a great experience, to be honest. Probably the best summer I've had so far. Obviously met some really good people over there, and we were lucky enough to win a Philly championship, which was unreal, really, to say the least, to come out here. I never even really knew football was as big out here, and kind of coming out, you're not expecting the standard, I suppose, you're going into. You know, you're surrounded by senior inter-county players and home-based players that have come out that would be serious footballers at home, so it was a bit of a shock, to be honest, at first, but I have to say I loved every minute of it, and now, obviously here in Boston now, and it's a step up again, to be honest. It's standard is getting even better, and you know yourself, it's only going to get better now in the coming weeks, coming up to crunch time with semi-finals and finals and all that. So yeah, loving it and looking forward to the next few weeks now.
Obviously, it's Friday here, so I think yesterday was the signing deadline. So I think pretty much all clubs now are set.
Yeah.
How you's looking now for the upcoming summer? Obviously, you've had a game against Donegal not last week, the week before.
Yeah.
So, how are you guys shaping up now for the final stretch of the year?
Yeah, look, I think we started off a bit shaky there, first game against the Gaels, and kind of a lot of new players, trying to gel together, and Gaels ended up giving us a bit of a trimming, to be honest. They've a very good team out, in fairness. Probably the team to beat at the moment, but from a Max point of view, we're getting stronger and stronger. I think as the weeks go on, every training seems to be lifting it up another gear, and a few new additions seem to be in a pretty good place. Had a good result against Donegal there last week, so good to get that going into the break now. We have 2 weeks off, so it's good to get a win, and hopefully we can keep that going and we get back into it.
And for anybody who wants to go back and watch that game, it's up on YouTube. I particularly like the bit No, I got a little feisty there in the second half.
Yeah,
What happened there? You get a little busted lip or something?
got a busted lip. Yeah, but sure, I suppose that's part of the game, isn't it?
Or
You
the
get
partial?
them days, and that's just all part of the game. It's suppose
But
what happens on the pitch stays on
you'd
the
say
pitch, you
they're
know.
even the standard. Like, I mean, watching that game, like,
Yeah,
I mean, for two teams that's already halfway through the season and it's not even a full strength yet. I mean,
yeah,
it's serious football. Even the week before, we filmed both the Gales Donegal game and then yourselves in Galway.
yeah.
You could just see the standard and the level of fitness as well.
Oh, yeah,
Like when you talk to lads at home, like talking about the standard of football here, like uh, are they almost looking at you with two heads to say like, you're out of your mind, like, but
yeah.
it is such a different game here.
Oh, I could like even myself, you know. I think most people at home kind of have the impression that it's a step down, I suppose, from home, but for me especially it's been a big step up like with the standard. And obviously then out here we're playing 13 aside, which is a lot more demanding, and out in Canton there it's a big field, so 13 aside is no joke, especially in the heat. It's a different ball game altogether, really.
It's funny. We actually had a number of conversations about the whole 13 aside. Um, I know there was a club at home back in South Armagh, Cross McGlen, that made up a good point about 13 aside football and how it could potentially open up the game of football, make it
Yeah,
a lot quicker, and almost take away you know that defensive mind, which would
yeah.
open up the space. What's kind of your thought on that 13 aside? I know some people may be against it. Uh, what's your thought on it?
To be honest, Scared, I love it now, to be honest. That's me speaking as a forward with all the space. I know speaking to the defenders we have, can be a lonely place stuck in their cornerback with a nippy corner forward. I know there's not much you can do, but as you said, I think it kind of takes away that blanket defense kind of style we see a lot coming into football now, and it's so open and end to end. I think it's I think it's brilliant, and I'm loving it. And I think most lads out here are loving it, especially forwards, as I said, but for cornerbacks maybe not so much. But I think they should definitely look into it back home. I think it'd be a great progression back home as well.
Do you think it would ever come into play?
Probably hard to see it at home, just because the way it's 15 aside, and haven't heard much talk of trying to change that thing. I would say a lot of counties would probably object to it because some counties play that defensive style and like playing a sweeper. It suits their system, and 13 aside, you don't really have a chance to play a sweeper. So maybe back home, I couldn't see it coming in, but I think it should definitely be considered.
You talk about the sweeper role. I can almost see like in a smaller field, like almost leaving one person inside forward and
Yeah,
having that person come back and sweep.
yeah,
Uh, but again, it's just so much field.
yeah.
You're talking 40 to 50% more than a soccer field.
Oh yeah,
It's a lot. It's
definitely.
a lot of play, a lot of grass to cover
Yeah,
for 13 aside. So, obviously, yes, there is the elements where you could see it work. Obviously, it does work. You see it here in the USGA.
yeah,
Maybe that was implemented for, maybe teams were hurting for numbers. But
yeah,
also it might help some of those clubs. Like you were saying, some of the clubs from home that might be struggling to get 17, 18 players and just have enough to scrape by. You could almost make that argument too. But I guess in the senior level, when you have a senior team and a reserve team, and some senior clubs might have three different clubs.
yeah.
They'd
Exactly.
be probably the first ones to object, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
uh, but it's an interesting one. I mean, we'll see. I don't think, to be honest, I don't think anything will progress from it.
yeah.
Uh, but stranger things have happened.
Definitely.
AKA the black card. But I think we're talking about
Yeah,
that. No, I don't know if you're watching the Donegal Connemara Gales game. I think that was that the one
just gone there.
before? Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was.
but I think there was like five or six black cards. Like it
Yeah,
was just, you know,
they're
it's
getting
so
dished out.
Like it's absolutely brutal because it's like the first 5 minutes and it's like what's considered a trip or whatever. But then as
I
soon as you
know.
give that first black card, you
Then
have to keep
you have to
giving
be
them and giving them.
consistent with it, and
And it almost it actually no, I wouldn't even say it almost. It ruined that game.
yeah,
Uh,
I agree.
with Donegal and Connemara. If anybody goes back and watched that game, like there was one stage I think Gales were down to like 10 or 11 people, and
Yeah,
and here, I
especially
don't know how. I don't know how you feel about playing in different environments, aka Wexford or like Philly, but how do you find the hostile environment in Canton? Because I tell you what, in my opinion, there is no city like the hostile of Canton. So
no. I mean, it's completely different to anything I've ever played. I can tell you that. Last year in Philly, there's no out in Limerick there. It's a lovely pitch, but there's kind of no stand or clubhouse or anything, So and people are kind of watching from up, but there in Canton, the crowd are right on the pitch. They're on the railings. Anything goes not your way, you're hearing about it from the stands, and I suppose as I said, it's all part of the game, and it can go well for you, or if you're having a bad day, no one's gonna hold your hand and help you back up. It's definitely a hostile environment, but I think it adds to it. It's great out there.
uh, again, if you're a keeper or a cornerback and it's not going your way, that can be a very
Yeah.
very lonely place out there.
Oh, for sure.
I actually had Robbie on. Um, I had Robbie on one of our first few episodes, and he was talking about one of the finals against Donegal a few years ago, and I think they were up by like 7 or 8 points with like less than 5 minutes to go,
Yeah.
and just goal, goal, goal. And it's
Yeah.
like if there was a hole, I I could have crawled underneath it.
I know. Yeah.
Um, and you and like that, we're not even halfway through the season here.
I
Like
know.
you wait until you get to finals when
Yeah.
there's stuff like 1,000+ people out there, and
Yeah.
it is just absolutely madness out there. You have
Mental.
every person under the sun, and don't even like the referee. You couldn't pay me enough to referee a senior
No.
football game.
I don't think it would be for me now. No.
Yeah,
It's definitely
you probably. I was refereeing some of the tournaments, the tournament there in the start of the year, and like even that wasn't too bad.
yeah.
But like in the semi-final games, it was like it got a little hostile. And I'm like, imagine this 10 times more on a
Yeah.
senior final. Like it's just
I
nah,
know.
fuck
You wouldn't
that.
believe it either. Like if I'm telling lads back home about it, you wouldn't believe it back home that you're coming out here, in the middle of Boston, there's 1,000 people and they're taking it so serious. Like it's really hard to believe until you're out here. And so I know some of my friends from home are out now and they're kind of just like, can't believe the setup out there and how competitive it is. And like clubs out here would die to win that senior championship, and it's a different world.
It's almost I've never seen. So this is kind of what it's like, and some people might not agree with this, but I think I speak on behalf of a lot of people. They would rather win a division title than a national title.
Yeah,
So to put that into consideration, some people would rather win an Ulster, a Leinster, a Munster Connacht than winning like an All Ireland.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean
It's like
yeah,
the all of the focus is on winning that division,
yeah,
and obviously you're in it now, so you see how competitive, that division is. Connemara Gales have obviously went, every time I look on their Facebook, they've got five new away based lads coming in.
yeah,
Fair play to them. I've watched them now a couple of weeks now. They have a very good team.
yeah. They're flying it. In fairness,
They are very. They're going to be. They're going to be up there this year. Uh,
definitely.
they've been always around there every year, but I think this year they've really come
Yeah,
on. Obviously, Donegal is definitely going to be there as they are
always.
every year. That's
Yeah,
great to see. And Donegal or Galway will be there too.
yeah.
Last year people rid off Galway and they went out and beat Donegal by I think
I
it was
know.
like 3 goals or something. So
Yeah,
Galway is one of them teams you just can never
no.
write But
There's
it's
no such thing as an easy game out here. Like every game you play is full on. There's no handy little. You're not getting handy scores. You're not getting a handy win. Everyone's out to win, and that's the end of it.
what's also pretty interesting, and even for people at home might be watching this, like, and in the Northeast is definitely a very unique division.
Yeah,
As far as competition, like you have your senior, which is pretty much inter-county standard.
yeah,
Then you have intermediate, which is the next level, with still inter-county players.
yeah,
So there's some of them intermediate teams that could be pushing those senior teams. And
definitely.
then you go into like junior A, junior B, junior C, like four divisions that are stacked with
Yeah.
teams. I mean, it's brilliant. I like
Oh, definitely.
as somebody from the outside looking in, like you can only sit back and be like, geez, that's unbelievable.
Yeah,
For a sport like most people, like well, I will touch a little bit more on, obviously you're playing soccer as well,
yeah,
over in Alabama, but like when you're talking to people that's never heard of Gaelic football, and it's like, what? And it's like Gaelic football, and it's like there's a league with, probably
yeah.
1,000 players and,
Uh,
20 plus teams, not even including the ladies,
yeah,
kids. Oh, it's phenomenal to see. And long may it continue. I think it's only going to get bigger, especially now with senior teams requiring American-born players
yeah,
to play. So how when you're training with some of these American lads that, like, coming over here, you might be looking and be like, Jesus Christ, American lads, it can't be that great. But you see them and they're like, Jesus fucking Christ, they're actually pretty good.
yeah.
Like,
I tell you, you get a big shock coming over, and you're thinking the American lads mightn't be up to scratch, but they're like, you can see with us, we've the two Wards there, Owen Ward and Stephen Ward. Like, only started playing, I think, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and two of them are solid as it gets. Like back home, they'd be solid players, and then obviously we've Owen Gormley as well. Be very good footballer back home, and it's crazy really to think you wouldn't even imagine there's any Americans playing Gaelic, but I think it's brilliant for them. Um, I think to see the younger how popular it is for the younger ages over here as well is brilliant. Like, you'd never think that there's under eights, under tens, under 12s, 14s. Obviously the Fatal team went over last year and ended up winning over there. It's crazy, like, and it's great to see. And it's such, as you said, the American players are so valuable over here with that rule. Obviously, two Americans on the field, and it's just so important to every team. So I think they should be really trying to get all the younger Americans involved early. And from what I've seen, all the younger ones seem to love it. So
that's at the senior level. Yeah, you have two, and you almost need to have, yes, you have two, but you almost need to have three or four.
oh, definitely, yeah. Like,
It's
obviously, if one of them pick up an injury or anything, you have to have two on the field all the time. So we're very lucky now with the Americans. We have serious players. Like, they don't affect the team at all. They add to the team. Like, have a big role to play, and they fulfill it every week.
and they're playing against inter-county players coming
Yeah,
over, and they're holding their own.
yeah,
One element that it mesmerizes me when I watch some of the Americans, and you might agree with it, but you watch all three of them lads playing basketball and
yeah.
how high they can jump.
It's crazy.
It's
Yeah,
absolutely unbelievable, and
insane.
it's not something like we would have. I remember when I was growing up playing football, like, it wouldn't be like you'd always have, your midfielders was the ones coming up and catching the ball, like, but
Yeah,
nobody really focused on that, like, power, the spring. When these lads have
yeah.
been doing it since they're, we've been kicking ball since we can walk.
They've
These
been
lads have been
jumping.
jumping, and
Yeah,
they are just, trying to out
it's
jump these lads are just
oh,
can't
it's
do
and
it.
it's so effective. Like, how her them like likes of Owen Gormley, they're playing in full forward. It's like a treat for anyone just to kick the ball in, and probably 8 times out of 10 he's gonna get up above a full back and catch it. Like, so it's crazy really. And then, I mean, for kickouts as well, it's like a dream come true really.
Yeah, and we have what's what's actually unique about our division, so we play at the junior C level. So we just started the football team. So I was with the Max. I was actually with the two wards when they first started. Well, actually, Owen started when I was around there.
Yeah.
And again, just very raw when he came in, but you could always see the talent. But Owen was still only a young one,
Yeah.
but you could see just the growth, and then sprung all of a sudden, just grew like 2 feet.
Yeah.
So, but what's unique about our division is we can only play 3 Irish-born players, no sanctions.
Oh, yeah.
So it has to be so that you can only have 3 Irish lads on the field at
Right.
one time. Everybody else has to be American or homegrown.
Yeah.
So it's pretty unique. But
Yeah.
what's nice now, we're starting to see some of our players, who are, maybe moving towards the Boston area. They're starting to, Americans can play with 2 clubs.
Yeah.
So, but you can play up, but you can't play down.
Yeah.
So we have 1 or 2 lads that play with other clubs, and they're playing on a better level. So when they're playing on a better level, obviously their skill level's getting better. They're coming back and playing games. You see like the shooting's getting better, the dribbles are getting better. Just the soft skills. But once they pick that up, they're athletes.
Yeah.
They're strong, they're fast, they can run all day. It's great to see on our end. Just obviously from, we started with 3 Irish guys, and we're up to, players, we're at 25 plus players, so, and predominantly, I think we have five or six Irish lads.
Yeah.
Rest are all American. We have 1 English lad in there, but we'll not give him too much abuse. But no, it's great to see, and I think it's only going to continue. And I'm sure you heard about that junior team that's probably going to go home. That's going to be like fully American born.
Yeah.
I think clubs at home are really going to underestimate them.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
They might go back, and I tell you what, they'll, if they win it in their first year, it might be a challenge just because there is that, the 15 aside.
Yeah. Different game, like.
Different weather too, and not playing for long enough together.
Yeah.
But I still think they'll make some noise.
They'll definitely be. I can imagine they'll be underestimated anyway, and teams will learn fairly quick.
Oh yeah. So what's your prediction for the summer before we start moving on to other stuff? Think you're going to get the job done?
Well, look, I'd be wrong to say anything else, but I won't say too much. But hopefully we can. Obviously, the Max won it last year, so we're hoping to do back to back. And I think the way we're going, we're in a fairly good place. But we'll have to see what the summer brings. I'm sure there'll be a lot of twists and turns along the way, and any team in it really could win it. But hopefully, we come out on the right side of it.
So obviously, you've been in the States now, so this is your second Gaelic stint. But in between the Gaelic stints, you've actually been playing a little bit of college soccer, huh?
Yeah, I have indeed.
How did that even come about? Were you playing soccer at home, or?
Yeah. So I was playing a bit back home. I was kind of always mixing the two, football and soccer, and I was always kind of didn't know which one was my priority, and I kind of probably took to football maybe for 2 or 3 years there when I was involved with the Wexford 20s and had a year in the senior panel, and soccer was kind of took a bit of a step to the side, but I was still kind of playing. Ended up playing with the Wexford Oscar trainer team, which is basically Wexford County team soccer. So I suppose got a bit of exposure there, and just came across these scholarships, seeing a few lads going on them, and I said might give it a look. And I was lucky enough that the agency I went through, Stephen Murray, they already knew of me. One of the agents is from Wexford, so he knew of me and he'd seen me play and kind of got in touch, and he said, look, I think you have a great opportunity here to go across and get a scholarship. I didn't really know much about it, didn't know if it was for me. It was kind of a bit of an impulse decision, to be honest. I wasn't too sure if I really wanted to do it, but I gave it a go anyway, and I suppose only for it I wouldn't be here talking to you, or I wouldn't have a Philly championship, and I've never been to America, so it's all worked out fairly well for me now, I must say.
Is that your? How many years have you been at? It's you're at West Alabama, right?
Yeah, West Alabama. So I went over there January 22. So I've been almost, I suppose, 2 years now. And coming over, sure, I didn't really know what to expect either. I was going in to a soccer scholarship after playing 2 or 3 years of football more so, and kind of just gave it a chance. And ended up going a lot better than I thought it would, to be honest. So first 5 or 6 months there in college, just kind of settling in, and we were out of season, so it was a lot of training every day. 6 a.m. starts, double sessions some days. Was a shock to the system now, I have to say. But I got into it, and then ended up going to Philly last year, back to the college in August for the season. Was lucky enough to be named captain, so that was a big lift for me. And suppose we had a great season. We ended up finishing second. Probably left a bit behind us. Could have went on and won it maybe, but no, it was a great experience and something I never imagined myself doing. But I'm delighted I went for it in the end.
Rumor has it Alabama has the best party atmosphere as far as US.
Yeah,
Suppose you can neither confirm or deny, but there's probably a confirm in there.
yeah, I'd say it's definitely up there anyway. The big University of Alabama there, you probably know they take their American football very serious, and it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, American football colleges in America. So a lot of partying going on up there, all right, and definitely a lot of crack to be had up there.
How far are you from that?
We're about 40 minutes away, so
Just so
not
you
too
go to
bad.
any games?
I've been to one, yeah, but its stadium's huge, and to be honest, I haven't a clue what's going on really with the American football. So it was more of a drinking session for us than anything.
Yeah. Are you the only Irish lad there, or is there other ones with you?
There's two other Irish lads there, so a boy from Waterford and a Donegal boy. So, and then mostly made up of a few English lads, French, Germans, Mexicans, obviously Americans. Everything, meeting people from all over the world obviously is another great experience.
I would say the level of soccer here is unreal. Uh,
Yeah.
you
So
think obviously you play at home, and
yeah,
I played a bit of soccer at home as well, and I actually played a little bit of college soccer here when I was up. It was more junior college,
yeah,
uh, Division three, but even that you see like a lot of the international kids, so like Cape Verdeans, Haitians,
yeah,
even though you're close to the border there, you get a lot of South Americans.
yeah.
I mean, the standard is getting absolutely unbelievable.
It is.
And I know down south, Alabama, obviously there's a big emphasis on football,
Yeah,
but I think you're going to start to see a swing where you see a lot more people going towards soccer.
I think
Obviously, because
so.
of the injuries of football,
Yeah,
and more just the athleticism.
yeah,
Soccer is just. I mean, more and more kids are getting involved with soccer.
yeah,
And I know people don't like that, but it's the truth.
yeah.
And that girls as well, girls,
Oh,
and you know what's good about ladies soccer here. There's so much of it here, but it also gives them, because their season goes from what is it, September, October through maybe November.
yeah,
That means they have the whole summer that if you wanted to pick up a couple of soccer players to play Gaelic football,
yeah,
it's easier for recruiting
yeah, definitely.
on the girl side, because there is that Gaelic football, you has your similarities there to soccer,
Yeah.
uh, but no, that's brilliant. I mean, who's all in your division then? So I'm trying to think. So what do you use, D2?
D2, yeah. So we play, kind of, you play within your region. So made up of mostly colleges from Alabama, Mississippi, a few in Florida. So I mean, obviously, the away trips then to Florida is a treat as well. You go down for 3 or 4 days to Florida, play 2 games in whatever 30 degrees heat, die, recover, go again. But sure, you get to travel across America, and I suppose the more you win, the further you progress, the more you get to travel, and it's insane, really. And as you said, the standard, like, everyone's just serious athletes over here, and there's no half-arsing it or getting away with being unfit, or you'll be showing up very quick. And the standard is definitely through the roof. Like, all the boys that are playing college soccer, they're all trying to go pro, and it's a gateway for them to try to get into professional soccer. So definitely a bit of a shock too with the standard and how demanding it is in the heat. But I have to say it's good, and definitely been probably got me in the best shape of my life, training in that heat and playing games, and it's definitely a unreal experience.
Just to confirm two things. So 30 degrees Celsius, yeah.
Which is about
just in case anybody was, listening to 30 degrees and was like, 30 degrees warm?
yeah.
Christ, where's this lad from?
I think we actually played in Florida, and it was touching 38, 39 Celsius, which is, I don't even know in Fahrenheit, but well over 100 anyway, I think. And that's a serious heat to be playing 90 minutes and
dry, humid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's
Florida
torture, really.
Florida can get pretty nasty.
Yeah.
And how was the adjustment? I'm curious, because obviously you speak to a lot of Irish people, and obviously here is a very early rise, right? So
Yeah.
it's I know I talk to people home and it's like, what time are you up? Like 5:30, 6, and like, what?
Yeah.
How was that adjustment to go into like 6 a.m. soccer, like training?
So that was a good awakener, anyway. And obviously I came out just after kind of the COVID period. So as you know yourself, COVID, sitting around the house doing nothing, staying in bed till 12, 1 o'clock in the day. Coming out here then my first week and getting texts in the WhatsApp 6 a.m. training, and I'm thinking, what the fuck have I got myself into here? But you soon adjust. It's the winter mornings are the rough ones when you're getting out of bed at 5 a.m. and it's freezing cold and it's torture, really. But then once you get into the summer, kind of get into a habit, you're getting up early and it's just really getting into that routine. But definitely took a few weeks to get into the swing of things, for sure.
It probably helped you when you were coming up here too, playing for the summer.
Yeah.
Obviously, some of the lads really do struggle when they come over first. It takes them a couple of weeks to adopt. Because it's different. Here it's like 90 degrees, humid in the summer, 13 aside. Canton it just gets hot and humid. So for you coming up and playing, like, your body was already adjusted, so you probably just swooped right in and just took it as it was.
Well, that's what everyone says anyway. They say, sure, you're well used to the heat, you'll be grand, but I don't think there's any getting used to the heat. But I suppose I would be somewhat more used to it than lads coming over from home, which is obviously an advantage for me. And there's no messing about in that heat. It's a serious, you can be as fit as you want at home, playing at home, and then you come out here and all of a sudden you're gasping for air after 5 minutes in the heat, dying for a water break.
How would you, so obviously, so many more years have you left then at college too?
2 years left, yeah. So I'll have to see what happens in between then. I kind of just take the semesters as they come, see what happens. Don't know what will come in the future, but just take it as it comes, I suppose.
Is there a goal?
A goal?
Would it be maybe try and push MLS or?
Nah, to be honest, I've never really thought that far ahead. I don't think that's realistic for me, to be honest. It's going very well for me, but I don't think there's obviously a very fine level and a very fine few that get drafted, and it's a serious commitment to get involved in that, and I don't really see myself being up there in that, but as I said, we'll take it as it comes, and hopefully something will come out of it anyway. Hopefully I'll get my degree with something to go back home with.
Would you consider staying here long term?
I would have said I see myself at home long term, but since coming to Boston, kind of head starting to turn. You're thinking, why would you go home and you're living a life like this out here? I can't fault it out here. The people, the city, everything that goes on. It's unreal. Like, it's really obviously living here in Dorchester with the Adams Village, and it's literally like an Irish village back home, and just really is like a home away from home. And you'd be kind of half thinking to yourself, don't know about going home here, but I'd say long term, probably see myself at home.
Back in the Wexford panel?
Well, I suppose that's not up for me to decide, but hopefully it's definitely a goal for the future to try break in there and get in the starting 15. So hopefully someday I can break in there and see what happens.
I mean, I will say when I came out here, it took a couple of months to adjust. But I mean, I grew up in like somewhat of a city, Newry, and Down.
Yeah,
So like, we kind of had a city, but um, like the thought of moving back, and I love going home. Don't get me
yeah,
wrong, like I love getting back and seeing everybody, seeing the old friends, getting to see everybody, family. But living here it's unbelievable. The opportunities here are endless. They say the American dream, like if you work hard enough, go and get something, you can make anything you want out here. Like,
yeah,
uh, and it is nice to have that, you know, community from home here, and
yeah,
that's where Gaelic football and hurling comes in with us. Like, I never played hurling at home.
yeah,
I picked up a hurling stick for the first time over here when I moved out here in 2020, and absolutely love it. You
yeah.
know, I never in my life had I ever thought of playing hurling, but you know
And now you're
what?
playing out in Boston. It was
Playing
like,
playing that even Boston and Worcester.
yeah, if someone had
That's
said that to you years ago, you would have said you're mad.
I
Like,
laugh at them.
yeah,
Absolutely laugh. And I love watching hurling, and I love like tipping about
yeah,
with the hurling and stuff and hitting it around. But I never thought I'd see myself playing. And last year we won the junior A championship, or no, sorry, junior B championship, and it was brilliant.
yeah,
Like absolutely brilliant with maybe five Irish lads. The rest are all Americans. Even some of the Irish lads are somewhat older, and it's absolutely class.
yeah,
And then you go, and then our football team got to the final. Unfortunately, we got beaten in extra time, but just a great bunch of people. And
yeah,
you have that like sense of community from home, and you have that home away from home.
yeah,
So, I mean, I guess both have their perks.
yeah, definitely.
So whatever it is you do, I wish you the best anyway. Sure, it's a hard. I'm sure it's a hard decision, for yourself and
Yeah,
family. A lot, obviously, because there's more that gets into it.
yeah.
Uh,
There's obviously a lot to consider, and I suppose I'm lucky enough to have a few options. Like, could be worse off, could be stuck at home with no chance of anything. So I'm lucky to be where I am, and God only knows where I'll end up. If someone had told me a few years ago I'd be playing soccer in Alabama and kicking football in Boston in the summer, I would have told them they were mad. So God only knows what's ahead.
so just to start wrapping up, uh, so if you're any young American lad or girl, maybe thinking about taking up Gaelic football, or maybe somebody was interested in West Alabama to start a Gaelic football team for the crack, because they do have college football, Gaelic
Yeah,
football. Uh, what advice would you have for them?
I'd be I'd be encouraging every young American, just to even try it out. Seems to be a common factor that the young American kids love it, and it's suppose it's like a new lease of life for him, and obviously the opportunity with the Gaelic team out here to go back to Ireland for a week and experience football back there. But even apart from that, Gaelic football is such a unique sport, and it's so dynamic, and obviously it's great for health, mental health, kids. I don't see why not.
Well, perfect. I think that's a good time to wrap up.
Yep.
Again, thank you for taking the time.
Thanks very much.
Wish you all the best in the upcoming, obviously, the senior championship.
Yeah.
And then obviously when you go back to Alabama, I'll make sure we keep following you.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a bunch of lads down from Boston that just travel down to Alabama for a weekend and do a football game, or
That'd be a hostile environment.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it'd be fucking brilliant crack though.
Oh, definitely.
So before we wrap up, just a quick shout out again to Masita, as always, to help us out with the podcast, and obviously the teams and stuff with their kits. Again, just a reminder, nationals are coming up. Get your orders in for all your training, your jerseys, your shorts, your socks. So you have them in time for nationals in August, which I hope to see you there, Shane.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll have another good run, hopefully. And
long way to go yet, but hopefully.
I wish you all the best, and I'm sure I'll see you in Canton. We'll probably film another few games for the crack.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me, Gareth.
No bother.
Been a pleasure.
Cheers.